Good day, everyone, to all the panelists and the audience members. Welcome to our webinar on Unlock 5x Growth for your recruitment agency with Recruit CRM. I'm Chavi, Content Manager at Recruit CRM, and I will be your host and moderator for today's session. It's great to see that we have a good audience already sitting in, so feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box. You can engage with each other. Let us know where you're joining us from. We would love to hear it. And before we get started, can all the audience members hear and see me and all of the panelists clearly? A quick thumbs up in the chat would be wonderful. Like Sean, you can let me know if they've dropped that thumbs up because I can't see.
Yeah, they have.
Okay, all right, good. Cool. We're all set. Okay. A quick few intros, starting with who we are. Recruit CRM is a next-gen ATS plus CRM software. We are serving currently 1,500 customers, over 1,500 customers in more than 100 plus countries. And we have a global team of over 200 employees and experts as well. Moving on. Now, what do we do? Our mission is quite simple. It's to enhance the efficiency of your recruitment business and businesses all over the globe. We achieve this by providing a software that speeds up business development. It simplifies recruitment processes and with smart workflow automation and boosts your daily productivity as well. All these efforts are tailored to help your businesses grow rapidly. Now let's meet our speakers for the day. Now, Sean did do some quick introductions, but for the people who weren't here, our very first speaker here is Todd. Todd is the owner and career advisor of Ocean Healthcare Solutions. He brings years of experience in healthcare recruitment and career advising, helping individuals and organizations connect with the right talent and opportunities as well. Next, we have Ipolit. He serves as the operations and product manager at Avisio, which is part of the WEFI group. With a strong background in product management and operations, he plays a crucial role in driving efficiency and even innovation within his organization. So welcome, Ipolit. Next, we have Pierre Arnaud. Pierre is the president and co-founder of Truckers. He is an experienced leader in the logistics industry and has built Truckers to change the way businesses manage freight and transportation services all over the world. All right, and finally, we have our founder and CEO, Sean Malapurkar. Sean has built a cutting-edge ATS plus CRM software helping recruiters scale their revenue and teams across over 100 countries globally. In the past 7 years, he has grown Recruit CRM to be the highest rated recruitment software across all major software review boards. So yeah, that's the panel for the day, and welcome everyone. It is super exciting to have all of you here. And now I will stop sharing my screen and yeah.
All right. And while I'm sharing my screen, I apologize to everyone in the audience who's seen that slide of mine on every single webinar we have. Because it's the same introduction every single time. But while I also do that, Todd, awesome that you're in healthcare. America is probably the best market to be a healthcare recruiter in because doctors make just so much money. And you can get a piece of that every time you place one. So
yep.
That's a great business to be in.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
Alrighty. So just to start with, guys, so this entire webinar is about how you can grow your recruiting business using Recruit CRM, but also how you can grow your recruiting business in general. Most of the people I've spoken to thousands of people who build and run recruiting businesses, thousands of whom are our customers. And most businesses we worked with had an incredible 2021. Almost everyone we worked with, especially in tech and services recruitment, their best year ever was 2021. Then you had the war starting in 2022. There was fiscal tightening, interest rates going up. Most recruitment businesses sort of slowed down. Some of the smaller ones even shut down. And what we've seen most recently, like literally this week, is interest rates are being cut again. The US has dropped interest rates by 0.5%. I think the Europe, UK, and other the Bank of Japan will hopefully follow suit in the coming quarters, which means capital is going to be cheaper. It's hopefully going to flow more into the economy. Businesses will grow, and thus they will need more talent. And recruitment businesses are poised for a few more years of great growth in 2025, 6, and 7. So the first question I have, right, before before we even get into the product is I just quickly want to ask Todd, Hippolyte, and Pierre in that order, since that's the order they joined joined the session in what they have done to set up their business for growth in the past couple of years, so that you're able to grow as business scales to 2 or 3x in the coming years. Todd, you want to take that?
Yeah. So I'll start. So when it comes to growth, in my experiences of being in the healthcare recruitment space for almost 20 years, and then owning our own firm for the past almost 2 years, the thing for me is to try to keep your growth strategy simple at the beginning, right? I think everybody in this panel could consider themselves a subject matter expert in recruiting. And recruiting boils down to relationships, right? It's the relationships you have with your clients. It's the relationships you have with your candidates. It's trying to have both interests in mind when you're, qualifying, what would work best for both parties, and then connecting them. When it comes to growth, I think our strategy was first and foremost to test out pretty much every single CRM, platform that's out there. And I've used quite a bit of them, from the big guys, Bullhorn, etc. And I can tell you that in this business, it's the same, right? I feel a great relationship with the team at CRM. Shashank is our guy, and I can text him, call him. I mean, the only thing about him I don't like is he's a Lakers fan and I'm a Boston Celtics fan. So, we got a little of that rub going. But when we decided to go with Recruit CRM, the efficiency, the speed, the quickness, the ability to customize all the fields that you want that will really hone in on what the right activities are. And for us in healthcare, we really focus on like the conversations that we have with people. And then obviously the submissions to our clients. That's, what the
And to
funnel is.
cut in, Todd, so do you essentially record all of those conversations in notes, or do you do AI
Yeah.
transcription?
So yep.
What's
So
the
very simply in the CRM, we categorize them as conversations, right? Because there's a lot of notes. When I first talk to a radiologist and that person is fellowship trained, interventional radiologist from, Duke in North Carolina, I ask that person, that physician, 150 questions at least, because you need to peel back the onion so much in order to like capture what the essence is
and
of their
and
preference.
and do you then score the person and put a number on them, or is it just like a list of questions? And
So how we grade value is in our we have our dashboard or our hot list set up. So if I have a Dr. Smith and I have an initial conversation, I log the conversation and then I put him in a certain category on my hot list as far as like the target in which he is A, B, or C,
got it.
um, and
And
then
just
follow it from there.
and just one last thing before we move on to Hippolyte. Now, you sort of have a huge contrast with our fellow panelists here in Hippolyte and Pierre in France, where they're doing slightly more volume recruitment in tech and like in trucking, versus I'm guessing if you're placing surgeons and doctors in America that are making 300,000-400,000 a year and your fee is 80 grand, the best, like if you do like 5 placements a year, you're like you're you're hitting your number, right? You're making 400,000-500,000
Yeah,
a year, or and so getting to scale is a little different in that sense, because you don't
totally.
necessarily have to like talk to 200 people a day. You just need very deep relationships with like
Right.
50 people you just keep placing over and over again.
Yeah, the thing I can tell you about the CRM,
Yeah.
because we have a couple of different functions in healthcare. I place doctors and I place all the way down to like RNs and rad
Okay.
techs, anybody in the healthcare space. So we're able to capture a large volume of initial connections through the CRM. and then boil those down into like the deep-seated conversations on why and when and what they're looking for.
Got
And
it.
then that's when we take that funnel, right, and get it into our our revenue stream. And it's really helped our trajectory as far as growth.
Got it. Cool. Hippolyte, what's your answer to that question? How have you guys set up Avisio and VFi? Because the first time I talked to Maxime, who's one of your founders, you guys were 3
Yeah.
people in 2017 or 2018. Now you guys are over 50 people. Is that right?
Now we are 95.
You're 95. You're
Yeah.
95 people in 4 or
Yeah.
5 years.
So
What do you guys think?
yeah, I started at Visio 2 years ago in 2022. So I wasn't the one who chose Recruit CRM, but I think Maxime, who is one of the founders, made a good choice. What is I heard you speak about 2021, which was a great year for every recruiting firm. So I arrived just after, but still at the time, we were still having our business was
Growing.
growing, and it was mostly based on networking. So we didn't have to do much business development at the time. Resume were flowing by the network we were maintaining, plus all the mandates, all the jobs were still flowing from this network, and it's changed a little bit for the last during the last year. Now we have to do much more business development, and we have more and more candidates that are in the market compared to 2022 when I started.
Hippolyte, you're talking about a transition from a more like candidate-driven market where there were few candidates, lots of jobs, to like fewer jobs, more candidates looking for jobs. But
exactly.
Now that we might just flip over the next 2 or 3 years back, because it just keeps switching between those.
Mm-hmm.
How does Avisio and the VFi group imagine you have to place 3 times the people in the next year that you did in the last year? What has the business set up in terms of systems, processes, automations to like enable that? Has Recruit CRM played any part of in a small piece of that? And like how does that fit into the circle?
Of course. So since the business is the market is changing, we have to set up Recruit CRM differently, and that's a good argument. I mean, a good feature of Recruit CRM is that you can customize the product a lot and really deeply. So every object can be customized based on the needs of the consultants, and also we rely a lot on the automation platform that has been embedded in Recruit CRM. I think it was 3 or 4 months ago.
We actually have a slide on it later where I'll make you dive deep into like everything you've done on automation, for sure.
But yes, Recruit CRM played a really good part in this growth, because it helps us automate a lot of emails, of workflows, and so that consultants can focus on really hunting candidates or taking some news,
building relationships, basically.
Exactly.
Just,
sorry for my English.
No.
It's been a long time I've not practiced, so
the content matters, not the language. And Pierre, I'm sure you had a crazy growth spurt, transportation, trucking.
Yeah.
In 2024 during.
Funny thing is, I know very well Henri, who is one of the 2 co-founders from Hippolyte. So he is the one who recommended actually your solution. That's why we chose it.
Awesome.
So recommendation works well. So yeah, we started 2.5 years ago, and we were only 3 co-founders. Now there's 11 people in the team, and so we had to staff the whole team with one single tool. And the good thing about having a combined ATS and CRM is that there's only one tool to do everything inside. And so you create jobs, you create staff match, you create all of the history that talked about Todd, which is also very helpful in our situation. You have the history, you have the questions, you have the tags of any kinds, and it's very personalized. So it's very dedicated to my job because I chose to put this and this attributes compared to Todd or Hippolyte on their respective jobs. So yeah, we chose this solution for mostly for obviously recommendation by another user who's satisfied with it. So that's good news. And also because it's the best combination between the two of them. And what helped most, I think, is that we get a history of already 2.5 years now in the software of people that we've actually tried to hunt in March, April 2022. And we're now in September 24, and we have a look at the history, and we can have directly everything on site. So much easier to catch on.
That's awesome. And if you had to like do again 3 times the placements next year that you did in the last 12 months, would you have to hire 3 times the people, or do you think the 11 people on your team could make 3 times the billings if
No,
required?
it's a good question. We are trying to scale through a platform that we're developing. The platform is obviously meant for our clients who are transport companies and our um,
Candidates.
um, providers who are candidates, exactly, truck drivers. And so the idea is for them to be doing it without us intervening. So the idea is also to have the same time size of people handling more business. But again, we can't do 3 times more sales without staffing more people. So
Yeah.
we'll have to have a local replacement. It's just that it's not the same curve, I think. So
Yeah.
increasing sales team will obviously be necessary, but maybe not as fast as the growing of
The
the
platform you
business.
talked about sounds a lot like what a Visio had built originally. Uh,
In a
and they
way,
actually did this
yes.
with
It's just that
API.
we're building a VMS, a vendor management
Yes,
system,
yes,
and so the idea is that
slightly different.
a transfer company can create a
Vacancies.
RFP and then
Yeah.
has candidates responding to the RFP. It's dedicated to transport companies to hire freelancers on truck drivers, and so that platform is obviously our business as core business. So we have an application for truck drivers, we have a website for transport companies, but beneath this old technology, we need a software that my sales team can actually follow up and have all the history and all the matching, and that's what the
And
Recruit CRM is for.
you can actually use our API to sync data from both those.
And it's actually done already. Yes, we have
Yeah, awesome.
maybe like Todd, not maybe 150 questions, but maybe like 20 or 25 connections already. So a
Yeah.
single candidate has like 6 documents, 7 questions, 10 something data on him, and this is kept from our solution directly by API inside your
Yeah.
software. Yeah.
But to be fair, Pierre, when you're hiring a professional truck driver versus like a heart surgeon, there's probably a little more like a
Yes.
detail that
Fair
one has.
point.
Like, uh, and
Fair
to
point.
go on, guys. Now some of these questions you guys sort of already answered, so these are just oops, I think we went into the wrong video. Just a 1 sentence answer on this, guys. Like Todd, if you talked about what's great about being with us, but what was the first thing that made you say, okay, let me try this system out. Let me pick this.
Use of the system, if that makes sense.
So
It
you
was,
trialed it actually. So
oh
you
yeah, we trialed it along with a lot of other CRMs and the workflows, the coaching and training we got, the adoption into how it works for us.
so we don't have good salespeople basically. Like it was just you just tried the product
Well,
afterward.
your salespeople did a great job, and then we were able to test it out and was able to choose Recruit CRM over, I think we tested like 30 different companies.
in the
So,
same time, like over your career or like while you
and
were.
no, in like a 4-month span, we took our time. We started with Excel, right? Just
Wow.
putting everything in Excel. And
Okay.
then we didn't want to make a mistake because in my career, I've used probably 10 different types of software, and I knew what I didn't want.
That's
And
insane commitment though, to be honest. Like I don't think
well,
ran an agency, I'd check 30 systems, to be
I'll
fair.
tell
It's
you,
hard.
it can make or break your business.
That's
It
awesome.
it totally can. Because if
Oh,
you
oh,
have a system that doesn't work and doesn't work like for you and with you, then you're spinning your wheels, and the energy needs to go into the capture of candidates, not is my CRM working
and
against me or for me?
yeah, and based on the fact that you're on this webinar with us and not like trying to beat me up, it's probably going the right direction.
Yeah, you're doing good. You know, I've got a, you know, and I've made a lot of suggestions as well that have already become adoption. So it's been great. It's
That's
been
awesome.
great.
And Hippolyte, I know you just said in your last in your introduction you weren't there when they picked it like many years ago. But if you had to pick the system today, like if you were starting your own agency, based on what you already know about the system, what do you think would be the one, if you just had one or two reasons to pick it, why would you pick it?
Well, I think actually Maxime told me why he chose Recruit CRM, but I can give you some personal reasons.
Okay, that's cool too.
I think Maxime chose the system because one, it's fully customizable, and I think he really likes. He's kind of a product guy, so he likes to customize things. Plus, there were some integration with Zapier
Yep,
first, and also he likes to automate things. And right now, from my point of view, I would say it's a little bit like Maxime. The API is really well documented, and there is an infinity of solutions that we can do with it. Plus, the user experience is really fine. I've had I wouldn't say I had the chance to test another ATS. Actually, we merged with another company at the beginning of the year, and they were using another ATS, which were really bad.
Okay, let's not name them then. Like, we don't.
No,
We
no,
don't want to make
I will
them.
not name them, but
we don't want to
the
be
user
mean.
experience was so bad. And when I showed Recruit CRM to the team, they were like, "Wow, it was mind blowing for them." Like the user experience is really nice in
Yeah,
Recruit CRM.
I can keep listening to you for hours, Hippolyte. I'm just like, it's just making me feel good about myself. Like, uh, that's
No, but yeah, so I would say integrability with other systems and user experience.
And guys, before we go ahead with Pierre, I just want to repeat one thing. Like, Hippolyte is obviously one of our most technical users using our API and all of the technical stuff to integrate with other tools. Most people probably watching this webinar won't be coming in and saying, I'm going to spend like hours customizing the hell out of this. So you could actually come into Recruit CRM and start using it in a few hours. It's like you can use it in a few minutes and then customize it within an hour or two. This is not something that needs you to know how to code and know how to use APIs and stuff, because I think that maybe scares some more less technical folks immediately, like, oh shit, this is going to be
Sure.
something
And
complicated.
I can actually vouch to that as well, because when I started so we had first license, I think July 22 something. I was the only one connected, and so at the time my CTO did not do any connection with whatever API there was at the time. And so the first thing that I did was actually myself handling a few buttons and a few clicks, and it's very easy to use. So just good transition. Sean, my choice was very simple. It's the nav bar, so the research bar, which is getting an information out of the whole system. So you type Thomas, and you know there's these names, candidates called Thomas, these companies called Thomas, these contacts called Thomas. All everything is centralized through this bar, which is I'm using obviously, I don't know, maybe 500 times a day. Something like that. So it's very, very helpful. That's what reason number one. And reason number two is obviously the connection of the two ATS and CRM, because same as Todd, I didn't do 30 demonstrations, but we did a few inspections, and none of the CRMs that we knew could actually do combination of candidates and clients with a good experience, as said Hippolyte. So the good thing about it was simplicity, obviously, to use for somebody who's not like a no coder, and the search bar is magic for that. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And the next question is sort of related, and maybe we can just get a sentence on this again. Basically, like if you look at how your business is used, and most of you have used Recruit CRM for years now, what's the one thing the system has done that's actually helped your business grow? Now, we talked about a lot of things. Some of you have used the API that have allowed you to do certain things. Some are using certain workflows to create contracts when you make a placement, invoices, and some are just using email sequences and enrichment. Like, what's the one thing you would say that's been most useful about the system for you? And maybe Todd, we can get like just one or two things from you that you think are useful.
Yeah, I think, entering all the information is pretty seamless. I think for me, I am not tech savvy at all. Like I'm a 1 out of 10,
Okay.
as far as some of the panelists here.
I, I,
So,
I don't trust that based on you looking at 30 systems. Like I can't imagine someone who hates tech like going through 30 systems.
well, I can tell you this, I don't want to be in the system that much. Like my talent and our company's experience is connecting and on the phone and talking to our clients and candidates. So the reason why we're able to scale is, we're good at what we do, but we're able to get the information in. We're able to search, like Pierre talked about, that search bar is really efficient, and then be able to link candidates when we fill in the fields of their skill set, be able to link them to the jobs that we have in the system. And that gives me a snapshot. Okay, how many candidates live within 25 miles of Newark, New Jersey that
Got it.
match this
So
profile?
it's allowed you to quickly find candidates within your already vetted pool. That
Correct.
you,
Yeah,
that's
it's just the identification, right? If we have a new client come in, we get their details. I want to be able to take 30 seconds or less and have a hot list of a target audience that is
yeah,
going to possibly fill this job. And then it's a matter of just calling them, doing our thing, right? Getting them qualified and then moving them through the process.
awesome. Awesome. Hippolyte, it's all you.
Yeah, I think what has impacted our business growth, there are many things, but one of the most important is how Recruit CRM helped us increase our and improve our candidate experience and the client experience as well. For the clients, there is the client view that you can share when you want to share the candidate list, which is really nice. And for the candidate experience, since we automated some emails, some based on how the fields are filled in on every candidate profile, we were able to really keep the contact with the candidates and the clients as well. So in the end, candidates and clients were recommending the Avisio service. So I think that's how it helps us grow the business. Yes.
Awesome. And I'm gonna I also have a GIF on like how the Kanban board works, the board you can submit to clients, just so it makes sense for everybody.
Yeah.
Pierre, what's one thing? I know you said a lot of nice things about us on the last one on the search, but
Just one thing. The one thing I love about the CRM is how you fill in information without typing anything. So basically, I'm looking for a candidate. I can scrap it from LinkedIn. I'm looking for a client. I can scrap all the information is directly stored inside the CRM. So my magic tool is I click on the little R in the bar, and the whole contact, for example, on a LinkedIn page, is directly scrapped inside
you
the
hate
CRM.
typing basically,
I
and
hate typing. I'm a salesperson. I like to talk to people. I don't like typing in reports and stuff. So um, no
awesome.
typing, and so I click. It's magic. The whole, even the photo. That's a very very good touch to have, because you have the photo of the person. So when you go back to
And you're
the
talking to them,
file,
you can visualize their face.
yeah,
That
who's
also
actually
helps.
inside. Really helpful.
Now we're going to talk about like just a few quick things. I think someone from Beyond is actually on this webinar, so we're super excited. But this is what some of our customers say about us. We have case studies with these customers, so you can actually go to recruitcrm.io, go to case studies, and you'll see like videos and interviews with great professionals and owners of these recruiting businesses talking about their experience with us. And now we're gonna have some fun, right? So I did not I sort of semi-approved this GIF, but I was like, this is very raw, looks like a drug deal happening. But let's talk about how we get your legitimate legal businesses to the next level. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you guys is something that Hippolyte actually talked about earlier that Avizio uses extensively, and Hippolyte personally actually manages for Avizio, so he can probably go super deep on this stuff. So what we've done and what these dots here are they're all the apps that someone can use: Eventbrite, ADP, Sage Accounting, a checkout tool, like database tools, Airtable, Adobe Sign, DocuSign. And what we have within Recruit CRM is we have something called workflow automation, which basically lets any person who doesn't know how to write code to basically say, if a candidate or a client is added to Recruit CRM and they don't have a phone number, go to like Lucia or ZoomInfo or one of these data finding tools and find their phone number. And if you make a placement, if it's a perm type job, figure out what the fee on the deal is and create an invoice for a customer. When you win a new deal, send a contract to a client or a candidate if it's a contract staff candidate. So basically, how do we do all of these automations that would normally require you to pick up the phone or write an email to someone in operations or finance in your company, and how we can just automate that stuff. And Hippolyte, and this is for you, like, could you maybe share 2 or 3 automations that I think you guys have like 40 or 50 automations, but can you share 2 or 3 big ones that you've done either using workflow automation or Zapier that you think are big time saver?
I have to choose one.
Yeah,
hard. No, one actually one recent one that we developed is we have a lot of application from our job board, so from the website. So we automated so it's basic, but we automated an email that says thanks for the application, and then when the recruiter changed one field based on the value that is chosen. So sorry. It will send. So we have 4 different ones. How to manage the application, and based on the value that is chose, it will send a different email. So yeah, it looks like that. So the recruiter doesn't have to do anything. It just has to change a field, and then the mail shoots. And so we have a lot of automation like this one based on other fields as well. And plus we can do some nurturing of the candidates and stuff like that.
And there's fun stuff you can do, right? Like some people, just like Hippolyte said, they say, if the candidate has been moved to interview and nothing has happened in like 3 days and there's no feedback or something, send a notification to the consultant to call the client and be like, hey, what's up? And if nothing else happens in 3 more days, send a notification to, like, let's say the business owner, like a Pierre or Todd, whatever, and tell them, hey, one of your recruiters working on a candidate, he's been in an interview or like post offer for like 7 days. What's going on? Do you want to step in and figure out if there's a potential fee here that you might lose if you don't take action soon? And that's just one tiny thing. But I quickly want to also ask Pierre and Todd, like, are you guys using automation at all, either within Recruit CRM or Zapier, to like just make stuff easier for you?
Yeah. We're doing Zapier for now, because that's what we know how to use it. But the idea is the same. If you have an action on one side, or a trigger, more like a trigger on one side, it actually triggers something else on the other side. And the most efficient, like you said, Hippolyte, is the change of status, for example, of a candidate from one status to a different status, then it triggers different types of notifications, mostly by email. so the candidate is updated via emails. Very important to keep them in the loop. I see in the questions, but I'll let Xavi to respond to questions. But in the questions, one of them is actually that. So if you have a candidate, the idea is to keep him warm. And so yeah, the ability of these workflows is to not think about keeping them warm. It's actually automated inside the system.
And our team actually helps you set this up, guys, by the way. So like most businesses don't have like a professional expert like Hippolyte on the team that just can go crazy and build stuff.
I'd love to.
Yeah, yeah. Most people would love to have somebody like that, but like obviously Avizio is at significant scale now with like 90 people. But for most businesses, they just come to us and they say, "Hey, I want to do this. Can you get it done for us?" And then we have someone on our team set this up, and it's like free. We just sit with them and figure it out, and it's just us like jamming together and figuring out all the automations that can save time. But Todd, have you experimented with the automation piece yet? I know you do more boutique, high end.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about the automation,
Yeah.
the templates that you can create are great. Like we spent a lot of time in creating templates to be able to, send, hey, we have these new jobs out to multiple different people at just a click of a button. Um, and I talk about like Sean, your company, it's always evolving. You're wanting to continue to add value to your customers. One thing that I've been working with Recruit CRM on pretty heavily is the SMS bulk text
Yeah.
messaging
Coming
philosophy,
soon.
and
Yeah.
that's coming soon,
Yeah.
right? And I've spent a lot of time with your team, just trying to perfect that because that's one thing where you could use one of these systems to like connect with like Ring Central, right?
Yeah.
The CRM is going to be able to do that. You're going to have your own phone number. You're going to be able to send bulk SMS text messages in the CRM, which is going to be an absolute game changer for us in our field. Because our target audience, the way in is through text message,
Yeah.
right? Every single human on the planet is text messaging. So like that is one of our biggest ways we're able to start the conversation.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. And one more thing I just want to tell people here is there's something called batch processing. Now, like I know this is getting a little bit technical, but this is just one slide. So when you use automation tools like Zapier, every time you do something, it like consumes what's called a task. So let's say someone has set up an automation between HubSpot and Salesforce and Recruit CRM and Power BI. They can basically say, if this happens, do this. And then every time the action is happening, it consumes a task. And based on your subscription with them, you have 1,000 or 5,000 or 50,000 tasks. With workflow automation and Recruit CRM, we have something called batching. So we can literally say, if someone fills a Google form, wait for an hour, and every hour take all of the responses together and add them as subscribers in MailChimp and create new candidates in Recruit CRM. And all of those are just one task, even if it's like 300 people being added. And that saves a lot of money, especially as your company gets bigger and you have more tasks running simultaneously, especially like standard stuff like an email getting blasted out or just data getting added. So that saves a lot of money per se. And then this is sort of like what a chart looks like. So it doesn't actually have to be Recruit CRM in the middle. It just is here because we have the most integrations set up in this dummy account that I have this image from. But we actually have customers that have integrated Recruit CRM with like GPT and built their own like model on OpenAI for candidate ratings. Now, for Pierre and Hippolyte, a little bit harder to do because like that's semi-illegal in the European Union because of the strict data laws. You can't really send all personal data to GPT, but if you're in the US or you're in Japan, you can have some serious fun. Yeah, yeah, Pierre. It's
No, but we're using, I mean, sorry to intervene, Shin, but we're using in the AI to do other type of very magical stuff. For example, the template that you talked about, Todd,
yeah,
you can actually use the template as a base, and then the AI actually personalize it even more. So the same action is actually different from each people because the template initially is one, and the response or the 20 different emails sent are actually different because of the AI.
yeah. And that
100%.
and even when we use, for example, when we use GPT in Europe, we have to make it GDPR compliant. So we actually have to remove personal information when we send GPT information. and then it generates emails or like resumes, like summaries, and then we fill it back with all of the personal info we have so that it looks GPT generated. But it was a nightmare figuring that out when we did it. But basically, if you're not in Europe, you can actually get your own GPT account, and you can say every time a successful placement is made or a candidate is rejected, send the candidate's information and the job information to your GPT model to figure out like what kind of candidates make it and what don't. So then it can start ranking candidates that you add into the system for a job right in the first stage, on like what's the probability of this person getting placed based on the 50 previous placements you've made and 200 rejections. And again, if you're in Europe, don't try this because you'll just get in trouble. And then and there's a lot of stuff, right? How do you auto close vacancies that are filled and you've no new actions on it? So how do we just do stuff that a human would have to click and do by automatically changing stuff? Now, a few more things that we have in Recruit CRM is like we recently partnered with a Dutch company called Wonk, which allows us to do two things. One, it's basically a job marketplace. So you can go in and you can look at job ads that are available. So you can go to Monster, LinkedIn. You can even like put an ad on Craigslist. I don't know how many people still do that, but you can put a job ad on Craigslist from within Recruit CRM with a click of a button. And you can also, if you have your own job board contracts, you can like actually, if you have like an Indeed contract or Monster contract or LinkedIn premium contract, you can add that into Recruit CRM so that when you post, your job automatically goes into your LinkedIn account, into your Monster account, into your Indeed account. And then when people apply to those jobs, it comes back into the system. So it's a two-way sync. And it doesn't require you to buy ads from the marketplace. You can also click on add contracts and add your own existing relationships with those job boards. Now, a few things. Now, this is actually what Pierre talked about, which is using AI to generate emails and email sequences. Very recently, we've introduced the ability to not just create a sequence, but use AI to generate the whole sequence with like 8 or 10 steps. So you can go into sequences in Recruit CRM and say, AI, create a sequence to follow up with potential truckers in France. And then it'll actually, and make it in French. And then it'll say email 1, email 2, task to call the person, email 3, email 4, and it'll create a journey that you can use and you can edit. Pierre, is this what you used, or did you manually just create a bunch of emails and put them in a sequence together?
We did both, but mostly manually.
Manually. But are you using sequences as a whole, or are you using like?
Yeah, we're using sequences, but we're not using it only in CRM, in Recruit CRM. We're using it Recruit CRM because of the batch that we have, but like for example, for the commercial outsourcing that we're outbound, commercial calls that we're doing it through other tools.
Got it. Got it. And Todd, what about you? Are you doing any sequences at all, or is that too automated for like the kind of doctors and stuff you deal with?
Yeah, very simple, stuff from a sequencing standpoint. It's not, it's pretty simple as far as when we want to, stop communicating with this person electronically and actually have conversations and video chats. That's our ultimate goal, right? Is to,
Build
get them on the phone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Get them on video chat, right? I think that's where the magic happens for our business, is the personal connections that we make, and we try to add value in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. So like getting to the first date is getting on the phone. Second date is
Yeah,
like on video call, and then
yeah.
actually like meet you in person. Yeah, great. Yeah,
And
great.
placing a doctor, imagine, 200 dates in order to get to that,
Yeah,
to
that's
that fee. So it's a long road for sure.
that's a long time. Out of curiosity though, because I'm sure the audience would love to know. What's the highest fee you've produced from a single placement ever in your career? I imagine it's like a ridiculous amount because doctors make like bank in the US.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote a deal for a doctor that was close to 900,000, and that was well over 6 figures. So it was a
Yeah,
good one.
20-25% of like, wow.
Yeah, 900 is a good number.
That's like
But
that's and that's one placement, just one person.
yeah, yep. And the value, and it's funny because that's from our business model, that's just like one placement where we really try to capture our physicians is to send them out on contracts.
Yeah.
Because you
that's
think,
recurring.
well, you just, yeah, that's a money tree that will continue to print $100 bills every single time they work. So
Yeah.
that's,
And I
you know, I
and
have
we ran
relationships that have last 20 years, you know, at times.
And how many points of contact did you make with that $900,000 doctor placement? Out of curiosity, do you
Oh, a lot. Yeah, it is not easy.
more than 20?
Oh, thousands.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that like,
years of your
I
life.
mean, that was a 2-year search, you know,
Wow.
essentially. So you got, you know, you can't think of it as, oh, I sent this guy an email, I talked to him for 25 minutes, and then, you know, here's the
Boom.
fee. No,
Here's
it,
180,000 US dollars.
yeah, it doesn't, you know, it sounds great, but it is a lot of work. It is not an easy transaction for sure.
Understood. And the next bit is something I want to ask you guys, right? So in Recruit CRM, we have something called AI summaries. So you're able to actually ask GPT to do like a write-up on who a person is. And you can use templates here. It's basically like recreating a resume from scratch. You can also use this to use the same tech to do call logs and stuff like that. Are you guys doing that at all? Generating like one pagers for candidates instead of the original resumes? Uh,
Yeah, actually, we use on our side we use it to exactly when we do the first qualification of the candidate.
Yeah.
And we the consultant takes a lot of notes, and then they put it in the AI assistant, and then with the template they say summarize it based on these different categories. So
Got
yeah,
it.
it saves them a lot of time.
And Hippolyte, is this the summary that you send to the client, or do you send the original resume to the client?
No, that's something that we use internally
Internally.
to collaborate on, so that someone who didn't qualify a candidate, he has all the notes, and you can pitch him or her to a client, even if
Got it.
he never spoke with this candidate.
Got it. Pierre, is it the same
I
thing?
didn't know you could do that. So
You really?
discovery tonight.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna do like a quick I don't know if I can do this super quick, but if you have like a candidate, what you can basically do is and if you have like a bunch of text on them, I don't know if I have perfect network for this, but you can literally go in and you can say, who is Sean? The system like says this is Sean based on the information it like has on Sean. So it has some nice stuff about me here. I can like take that and say put it in our like combine it with our template. And the template could literally say last job one, date, salary details, blah blah blah. Like you can like print it out like that. And you can like put your own text here, like literally 5 seconds. And if I hit submit, it just creates a new PDF, like a new resume from scratch. And this is HTML, so you can make it look like whatever you want it to look like.
What?
Yeah, yeah. I just did it.
Okay.
I just did it live. I just did it live.
Yeah, my mind's blown because a lot of what we do is, you
Yeah.
know, we have to pitch these people to our clients.
Oh,
And
and then if you don't have like an open job, you can actually say pitch candidates to clients. And like let's say this opens up I think I'm doing like a Kanban board, but let's just pick two random people. I don't know who these people are. Uh I can actually say use the summary and maybe a formatted CV we have, and the system is going to generate one of your templated emails and just attach the summary. Like it's going to create a PDF of that summary that you can just email out, boom, and then it'll mark this as pitched. Like if I actually did it, I'd see the client's names here, and you can do that while submitting candidates too. So it just saves like a ridiculous amount of time because like
Yeah, that we use. That's a very, very important tool that we use. My colleagues are at acquisition, so I'm not doing that because they're the one pitching the candidates, but they use specifically that button very, very, very simply. So very important.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the goal is like how can we take the text you guys already have on a candidate from their resume, from the notes you guys have taken, the fields you guys have filled up, and put it in a template with your branding, logo, your company feel and vibe? Because a lot of times we have resume formatting or CV formatting, but the problem with CV formatting is you have to work with the candidate's existing resume. And then if you're like removing like contact information and details, it looks a little funny because like you have white spots in the middle. This just completely changes the game because you can just create a new one basically in like a few clicks, and you can set a default template too. So it just creates one by default. The next one that's really cool and interesting is call recordings. So you can obviously call people from Recruit CRM. It's cheapest when you're calling the US and Canada, but if you're calling like internally France to France or UK to UK, Netherlands to Netherlands, it's also reasonably cheap. Like on an average, US is like 2 cents. The other countries are like 3-4 cents a minute. And that basically lets you call somebody, record the call, transcribe every word spoken, and then have AI essentially summarize the conversation into like a block of like action items, key points, and stuff like that. So if you're calling people using either Recruit CRM's mobile app on the phone or on the computer, you can like do full call recordings and stuff. And it's really useful, and you should try it out if folks haven't already. Any chance have you tried that out here? Like, have you tried call recording using us now?
No.
2 years, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah.
the only thing is I'm not sure we can use our numbers to do that, but we'll check afterwards. It's a good
You can,
point.
by the way. You can use any number you currently have. We'll just send you a text message to verify it, and then if you call using it, it'll be like you picked up your cell phone and called. But anyway, we'll
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
have a chat afterwards.
I'll send you some more information later.
Sure.
But and we've had this for like years, literally like a year and a half. Like uh and another thing that's fun is like this is something Hippolyte talked about. So he talked about how you can have like a Kanban board, and you can have a Kanban board of the jobs themselves. You can have a Kanban board of the candidates within each job, and you can also share that board with your clients so they can react to the candidates you're presenting to them, and they can say, I like this candidate, I don't like this candidate, and that obviously adds value and saves time. uh, we talked about the Chrome extension, and I'm sure all of you use the Chrome extension a lot. Pierre, you said you that's the only thing you use because you don't like typing stuff. One big breakthrough we had a few months ago, and to my knowledge, we are the only ATS and CRM system today that does this because it's just so processing heavy, is off limits on LinkedIn. So are you using that already, or do you want me to show this to you? Pierre?
Go on.
Can you show it?
Yes, yes. Okay, so what we realized was, and in recruiting, and Todd, maybe this applies to you as well, you have certain customers that are sacred to you. So you have certain customers and they have built a relationship with you, and you don't want one of the 80 people at your company to call one of their candidates or employees and say, hey, do you want a job? Hey, do you want a job? Because that'll just ruin the relationship. So what we let you do at Recruit CRM is we have something called off limits. This is relatively new. This only came out a few months ago. And you can create reasons why a company or a person is off limits. Maybe they're an existing customer, they're in a guarantee period, you have a contract, they're a portfolio company, whatever. And you can go in and tag an individual or a company as a whole as off limits. So I'm actually going in now and I'm saying Netflix is off limits for the next 2 years because they're an existing customer. And they're off limits for BD and off limits for poaching. Existing client, do not freaking touch, right? Like you write like a note like that, just to make sure no one's screwing with them. Now, if you or anyone in your company, now they don't have to go to Netflix. I'm just manually doing this because I don't know anyone at Netflix. If you go and look at one of the 17,000 people that work at Netflix and just click on a random person, I don't know this person, I don't know who they are, I'm just clicking on their profile. The system's going to tell you Allison doesn't exist in your database, but works at Netflix, existing customer, don't freaking touch. Because if you click on Netflix, it'll pop up Netflix account and you'll see don't freaking touch on top. And that this literally saves lives, guys. because you can ruin a multi-million-dollar relationship with a large customer when a new intern on your team or a random consultant on your team that doesn't know that you have a specific customer just messages somebody and says, hey, do you want a job? And that's the person who's giving you jobs to work on. Like, like that's a very, very painful situation. And we never want you to deal with it again. And as you know, the larger your business is, the more likely this will happen because not everyone knows who's a client, not everyone knows who was placed by your company in the past year. So it just saves you. It's a safety mechanism more than anything else. So please use this if you aren't already, because I'm sure no matter especially any business that has more than 2 or 3 recruiters, just use it. That's just going to save your life.
Actually, we use it at Wi-Fi. We use it for the people doing exec search. So they all have a portfolio of 100 candidates that they don't want to share with the rest of the team. They want to manage all the relationship. So they told everyone, so do not touch my candidates or I will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually scared for a second because I was like, if you're one of our teams with 95 people and you're not using this feature, I need to have a conversation with your account manager on like why, like because the larger the team, the more like dangerous something like this can be, and the more useful this is. If you have like just 1 or 2 people on your team, it doesn't matter because you know all the clients, you know all the placements, and it's fine. Now, this is again something that's super recent. We recently added like Zoom and Teams in addition to like Google Meets, which we've had for a few months. So you can actually connect any of these accounts. You can create meetings. We will automatically fetch like a Zoom or a Teams or Google Meet link, add it to the meeting, put it in your calendar so you don't have to like go open a new tab and create a link, right? Just saves some time. And in the same theme, I personally also use Calendly today. Recruit CRM is building its own scheduler, which we hope to have live by the end of next quarter, which will be available to all customers for free. So you as a customer will just get access to a Calendly alternative for free, which you guys can use to send people links to book meetings with you. Uh, uh, we're working on a meeting scheduler. I think it's already on the next slide. And we're doing 2 other things. We're working on advanced analytics. This is something that's already in beta, actually. So what we have done is we realized from a lot of our mid-sized customers, people that had like anywhere from 8 to 10 people to like 50 to 60 people. Now, this is a size of a business where you need analytics, but you don't quite have the budget to have a full-time business analyst in your company who can write SQL, build dashboards and reports, and then you have to buy a separate like Power BI or Looker instance and figure out how to move the data there. It's quite a lot of work for like a 10 or 20-person company. But the basic reports that a system like ours might have might still not be enough for you. So what we did was, in addition to like just having regular reports, now this is in beta, so most of you won't see this. We have advanced analytics in Recruit CRM. And what advanced analytics basically does is it puts all the data you have as a company into advanced analytics. Uh, advanced analytics is like a partnership we have with Metabase, which is like a analytics platform where you can do like queries and dashboards and heat maps of where your placements are coming from. And if you're nerdy, you can write like models and stuff. And what we'll do is, just like workflow automation, we will give you a consultant for free who will build any dashboards you want based on your data, because we already have this, and then we can use those models to help our other customers as well. So basically, if you want to go more hardcore on data and analytics, this is something that's available to you for tens of dollars and not thousands. That is awesome. And
That's awesome.
yeah, and so yeah, Hippolyte, I'm guessing you guys have spent a lot of money on analytics, right? Because as a pretty bad company your size, you're doing
We spent a lot of time, yeah.
yeah.
And time is money, so yeah.
And yeah, time is money. And so what we're trying to do is, how can we help these customers like pay an extra maybe 10% to Recruit CRM and get a business analyst and a platform where they can build these reports right within their ATS and CRM. So we become ATS CRM plus hardcore Power BI Looker type analytics, and not just like the basic reports. And last but not the least, this is something we're again working on for Q4. We're working with a company called Unipile for a deeper LinkedIn integration, which means you'll be able to get a Unipile subscription within Recruit CRM. It'll be like 10, 15 bucks. And you'll be able to connect all of the LinkedIn messages you're receiving and your colleagues are receiving inside Recruit CRM. So when you go to a candidate, if I go to Hippolyte's profile in Recruit CRM, I'll be able to see any messages anyone in my company has sent him on LinkedIn, in mails, regular messages, everything. And right from there, I can actually message the candidate as well. And depending on the settings you set up, you can message as your colleague. So if Pierre and Hippolyte worked at one company and you enabled it, Pierre could see that Hippolyte has already talked to a candidate. And then as Hippolyte, he could message that person on LinkedIn. So it's hardcore, like, and you can
Whoa.
yeah, you can turn that off. But like this lets you really go hard in terms of like scaling, sharing, collaborating, and getting more shit done. And obviously there's security settings to ensure if you don't want certain things, it just gets locked. But that's what we got, guys, and we're an hour through this webinar, and we're at the end. If you're still not convinced, I don't know what to say to you guys, but just do a demo. Just try the freaking product. Just do a free trial. Yeah, you just have to put an email and make up a password. And thanks a lot, Todd, Pierre, Hippolyte. You guys didn't have to do this. You've literally come from the goodness of your hearts. Like, we haven't paid you money to do this. You literally pay us money every month or year, right? So it's we're really grateful for you guys to come here, and hopefully some of the things we covered during this webinar are stuff that are also useful to you guys. Maybe one or two things that you might have picked up and everyone in the audience has picked up.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has been
Absolutely.
great.
All right, we'll now have a quick Q&A round. We'll just cover like 3 questions because, our handy chat support has already answered so many of your questions. So yeah, the very first question we have is, does the system have a feature to bulk upload resumes at the time of initial setup? So Sean, you can answer that.
Yeah, we do. So one, like, even outside of like doing data migration with us, where you can send us your old system and data, one of the things you can do, and I'm just making certain fields invisible on my screen because like I had a list of people's phone numbers open and I didn't want like to put that on a webinar. But basically you can say resume parser and you can drop like dozens or hundreds of resumes in. And the system will just parse it. And again, for Pierre, Hippolyte, and Todd, we're introducing a new search. so this is why my UI looks different. So there's no advanced search anymore. You can go do a Boolean search and you can say, I'm looking for a senior manager or director, and I want you to search inside candidates, CVs, also notes, also call logs, all in one go. And if you want to add filters and stuff, you can search based on work history, and you can say, I want to search for people that in one of their previous jobs worked for Microsoft. And like you can search that just by work history so that it doesn't pick up a certification and stuff. You guys will have this in a week or two, 2 weeks.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's much more powerful.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm off topic.
Yeah, another question we have is, so this is asked by Karen. She's asking, I'm curious to learn how you use advanced search and how it helps you increase business.
Yeah. And I think there were 2 questions. One was around candidate consent. That was also by Karen, so I'll also cover that right after. So one, advanced search just lets you like save time to get stuff done quickly. So if you're looking for someone that's a senior manager or director and can speak German, you just go in and you say apply search, and this just searches into your entire database and finds like, let's say, 150 people that match. You can obviously apply more criteria, and you can say, we're not looking for people that do marketing. We're only looking for people that do sales and stuff. You can say, I also want to search for notes on people. As you can notice, this is a lot faster than what we've ever had before, because it's just like 1 to 2 seconds for every search. We're using a new search engine that we spent lots of money on to power this search, but it's really making it work. And once you get these results, you can actually select all of those. Like now we have 84 people that match, and you can put them all into a sequence. And you can basically say, I want all of these people to get an email, and I want the people that don't respond to get a second email in 3 business days. And then I want a follow-up reminder to call the rest of the folks. So this like just lets you get a lot done that way through scale. Another question was from Karen on consent of candidates. That's a very good question. So the first thing, this question only applies to the European Union again. Anywhere else in the world, Todd doesn't have to get someone's consent to save their profile on LinkedIn. It's public information. He's allowed to do it in America, land of the free. And but in the EU, it's a little more strict. So on the business side, it's a little more strict. Great for consumers, of course. But when you use the LinkedIn Chrome extension to save somebody, Karen, what you're doing is you're saving them in your database for legitimate business. So there's something in GDPR called legitimate interest. So you're saving them in your database temporarily under legitimate interest, and you generally only have their publicly available information. What you then have to do is we actually have a consent button within Recruit CRM. We call it request updated profile. You can either do that one at a time, where you send the candidate a consent form telling them you have their data, and you have their data because you hopefully want to help them find a higher paying job. So there's legitimate interest for you to build a relationship with the candidate to help them get a better job. That is why they were reaching out to them. And if they don't want you to have their data, they can click on the link and delete their data. So you're giving them the consent to delete their data, or like give you consent. And usually you can set up automations using our workflow tools to auto delete candidates that don't respond to that in 6 months or 1 year. Or you can set up extra reminders and prompts. But usually that's what you need to do to get a candidate, because otherwise it's a chicken and egg problem. You'll never be able to call a candidate because legally you need consent to call them. But if you don't call them or email them, how do you get consent? And I'm sure Hippolyte and Pierre have gone through this conundrum of
Yes, we have.
yeah.
It's a very painful problem of the RGPD, GDPR rule in France and Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very exciting. So whenever anyone from outside of Europe goes to Europe and goes to any website, they suddenly see all of these pop-ups that says, "Do you give consent?" Cookies, and then when you go outside of Europe, you go to the same website, it just opens up, and they're just like all the big tech companies in America just tracking you 24/7. But yeah, that's the answer to that, Karen. Chavi, what's next?
All right, so we have another question from an anonymous attendee. They're asking if, for example, I have 4 out of 5 candidates in process for interviews, can I keep them updated in bulk via email?
Yeah, of course you can. So, and I'm doing screen shares because I think this is the most natural way to share this. So let's say you were in a specific job, and you can do this by job or even all candidates that I have. So like I could go in and I could say, I'm Sean, and uh, I have a bunch of candidates across all my open positions, and let me just go in, and I can go in here, and I think I have like a bunch of stuff in my dummy account here. So let's say I have a pipeline view and I have all of these candidates in different stages, in different jobs with different companies. I could actually select a bunch of them, and I could send them all an email. I could pop them into a different job. I could put them all into a sequence so they all get the first email. The ones that don't respond will then get a second email. And another thing I can do is if I'm updating their candidate status, or like I can drag and drop one by one, or I can take a bunch and just update their status. Depending on the status I move them to, I can also send them an automated email. So outside of using workflow automation, we also have email triggers. So an email trigger is stuff like, if the hiring status of a candidate is changed to this, send them this email template that you have created using the email of the job owner or the person that's rejecting them or shortlisting them. So you can do that. And then there's automation also around, if you submit candidates to clients using the online link or like the email, do you want to automatically update the status of the candidate to submit it or something else? So a lot of people do that as well, so that the status is updated automatically instead of you having to manually update it when you're presenting. So yeah.
I think that's it. We've already exceeded the time. So we got a couple of more questions, but I think we'll answer them later over email to all of the attendees. So don't get disheartened if we weren't able to answer your questions, but yeah, we will now, wrap up the webinar. So guys, do you have any final remarks? All the panelists, all the customers, and Sean, do you have any final remarks for our audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, we are at a wonderful phase in the business of recruitment. I feel like the next 3 years are going to be amazing. The last 2 years were actually rougher for the average recruiting business. But capital markets are loosening. Capital is going to flow more freely over the next 2 to 3 years. In America, we might have a slightly tougher market and maybe a little bit of economic stagnation, maybe the next 6 months or 1 year, because rate cuts normally occur because the economy is slowing down a bit. But usually post that, you're sitting on a bull market that lasts anywhere between 3, 5, 8 years. So we're all set for a great market. Just make sure you're prepared and ready to like skim the top of that great market and actually make a fortune. But that's it for me, Todd. What do you have?
Yeah, I think this has been great. For anybody who's on the fence, take it from me and all the back end work I've done to like pick a CRM. It definitely will do what you need, right? In the world of recruiting, it's about speed, it's about efficiencies, and it's about capturing your audiences with a good value proposition. So I think Recruit CRM, we're looking very much to the future and the different things it's going to be able to do for us in the future. Sean, we can all tell your passion, right? And that's a good thing, right? In recruiting, if you don't have passion for this game, it is tough.
This is
So
all I know, Todd. This is all, like if there's no recruiting, I'm on the street. Like
yeah, well, listen, you got good flow. Maybe we can have you start talking to doctors. Never know. But no, it's been great. No, I appreciate it.
Awesome. Hippolyte.
Yeah, so it has been great working with Recruit CRM. I think it's one of the best tools to maximize the candidate and client experience, because all of the history that can be stored there. So yeah, I think and also as Todd said, the Recruit CRM teams are really available whenever we have a problem or a question. In 2 minutes we have an answer from the chat, so it's really great. So keep doing like that.
Thanks, Hippolyte.
Really,
We will.
we really have a great experience with Recruit CRM. Sorry.
That's awesome. And we worked with Avisio and your team for like 6 years now, and we hope to continue doing that. 5 years now, and we hope to continue doing that in the years to come as well. And sorry, I cut you off. My bad.
No, but hopefully we will continue, because we killed another ATS. So
yeah, you did. You're moving a bunch of people over to us.
Yeah.
And Pierre, as you can see on the chat, guys, has had to catch a train, so he's out.
But yeah.
I'm hoping he had fun too.
Yeah, well, that concludes our session for the day. Let me just move on to my computer is stuck, guys. No problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that always happens when we're doing
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, well, that concludes the session for the day, and thank you all for joining and participating. To learn a bit more about our features and us, head over to recruitcrm.io. We're also excited to continue these conversations and more on our social media platforms. You can follow us on all of these platforms that you can see on the screen. And for weekly discussions on all things recruitment and technology, check out our blog, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter. You get updates, every single day there. And yeah, all of these links are going to be in the chat box now, so you can engage with them. And yeah, hoping to see all of you for our next webinar next month.
See you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.